If you have any questions about this nonsense, do message us at anchor.fm/aquaqlabs and do leave us a message so that we can bring your voice into the lab and chatter. Until next time. Love from AquaQ.
And that was just a bit of keys from AquaQ and the C3W orchestral hands. Hope you enjoyed.
wish you were a star, or maybe a boat captain? Now you can be with Anchor.fm. Put your podcast together in bite-sized segments with royalty-free music and a sound effects catalog that will make you sound like the radiophonic workshop. Anchor.fm distributes to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a slew of others. And it's all free, I tell you, it's just free to use and you can earn some quick cash too, if you put one of these silly ads in your podcast. So get Anchor FM and start the new dreamboat rockstar job of yours. And let us know too how you are doing at Aqua Labs.
A pause button for replay. The point. Life. Well, it is reciprocal, and it is work, but is it a desk? Is it even work from home? Perhaps it is at will work and do the needful. Float. Move free and understand what you are giving, and what you are getting. Decentralized payments mean you don't have a boss, you have currency tied to your belt, that releases and transacts all the while you are living. Ding. Perhaps you have body sensors, or perhaps you are adept enough to transact. And remember, it's not cash. It's energy. Where do you want to go? What will happen when you get there? Is there a point in getting there, or is the journey the mission? Your short travels, should they return to home, or should they bring you further out and around to where you want to be? Will you have people, and housing, and enough stuff to travel forth? These questions of what is a home, and what is life, are complex, especially for relationships that develop, or do they? I think they should, but perhaps they only occur as needed. Familiar I like, but being alone when you want is nice too. To figure, establishing contactless digital currency does not have any requirements, as the exchanges work themselves out as you travel. Blog it. Build it, sell it, be it, dream it, ship it, design, resign, unbox, and bring strawberries to a party. Heads up, display it, project it, QR scan it, pick it up, leave clues for the path. Disappearing ink on sidewalks. Cyber plus human is instant and permanent in the blockchain. Divisiveness will keep your messages on path. So where does the energy come from? Food. Us. Power. Where does it go? Question it, level up, get out and build it, let them follow you, power up the power stations, leave data packets from the future and beacons of proximity, which are training grounds for them, and you revisit and reseed what works, from everybody, from our devices, from the blockchain messaging, and test. Write the tests that test the tests, and automate long-range telepathic superhighways. Instant point-to-point, on-point, depots, and portals. For your leisure. Drop in, tune out, etc. Know when to speed, when to slow, it's perfect, all the time. Seemingly at least, it functions as physics and chemistry plus love, if that's what you're after. And then some. Let the music flow.
And this was episode 20. Free for a dime dropped into a pack bell telephone. Message us at anchor.fm/aquaculabs/message and get in. Radiophonics are produced on an Android and semi-discomfort, for your comfortable chair or roads to listening pleasure. Please consider a donation to the podcast, and keep on listening on. Love from San Francisco, this is Aqua.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg? The rooster came into the chicken. OMG, he's writing my act. Variety, Plan 0. Loss of despair is the best loss ever. When all is lost, you find everything. Message in a bottle reads, help yourself. ... I lost a small package, not a huge problem. I tried to sleep, but then I got tired, slept it off for weeks on a stoop and got fired, tried to take pause, and now we're in reruns. When all is lost, you find everything. Message in a bottle reads, help yourself. #OMFG, he's really writing my act. I have indoor cat food, but I keep it outside. I tried to deliver a joke, but they sent it back, now I have to write it all over again. I have odd times every other so oft. Whiskey. Man, I'm done with booze, at 2 a.m. You ever want to really get into somebody's head? No, don't do that, I did it to myself and that canvas ain't pretty. I mean, I got it cheap off a street guy that seemed alright. Turns out, he's been hustling heads all over town, so now asterisk asterisk I've got this used head. Don't know where it's been all its life, and I keep hearing a ringing. And a bell, and the voice of Martha. She keeps telling me to see the sea. So I out there, on a lark, as a fella might do when he's hearing Martha asterisk s echoing void voiced in his head. So, I surreptitiously encroach upon the waning sea under a waxing moonshine. And there's Bob sacked asterisk 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 asterisk. I say how's you doing Bob, you here for Martha too? Bob is a good friend of mine. So hey says, don't fuck a goat, this is like 10 years ago. So anyway, now I've got Bob's goat fucking, and Martha in my head, waning waxing of this devilish moon, shine upon me. Just at that moment, a parakeet lands on my shoulder. I say what the fuck man, parakeets don't live near the beach, and in a deep sleep voice, echoing the voided voice, Martha, then it flies off. So by now, I only have enough moonshine to last the night. In delirium with the goat plus Bob Saget's rump roast cauliflower. This crab scuttles up, morning, tide. Say, man, crab, you're a freshwater cratcher, what are you doing at this beach? So he says Martha sent me, to tell you, to go back to habitat. It says here on this card. Hashtag at this point I've bitten off more than I can chew, sans food, C3W. H chaos EQ. Chaos. H is the obfuscation of communicative O diminishing the program O of H generates W to O caret N. H is O of above. Note to Jim Norton. Hashtag normlive. I'm not your girlfriend, and you're not my bitch. I tried to compare then and now it's later the jokes are on Mercury this time around I predict it'll be playing at the Apollo, but probably in the daytime. I'll give them light material face with tongue I like to stretch rubber bands, they need the exercise. Peace, love, San Francisco, C3W.
Ever wish you were a star? Or maybe a boat captain? Now you can be, with Anchor.fm. Put your podcast together in bite-sized segments with royalty-free music. And a sound effects catalog that will make you sound like the radiophonic. Workshop. Anchor.fm distributes to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a slew of others. And it's all free, I tell you, it's just free to use and you can earn some quick cash too, if you put one of these silly ads in your podcast. So get Anchor FM and start the new dreamboat rockstar job of yours. And let us know too how you are doing at Aqua Labs.
Genesis 1. In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty, darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning the first day. And God said, let there be an expanse between the waters to separate water from water. So God made the expanse and separated the water under the expanse from the water above it. And it was so. God called the expanse sky. And there was evening, and there was morning the second day. And God said, let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear. And it was so. God called the dry ground land, and the gathered waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it according to their various kinds. And it was so. The land produced vegetation, plants bearing seed according to their kinds and trees bearing fruit with seed in it according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning the third day. And God said, let there be lights in the expanse of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark seasons and days and years. And let them be lights in the expanse of the sky to give light on the earth. And it was so. God made two great lights, a greater light to govern the day and a lesser light to govern the night. He also made the stars. God set them in the expanse of the sky to give light on the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate light from darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning the fourth day. And God said, let the water teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the expanse of the sky. So God created the great creatures of the sea and every living and moving thing with which the water teems according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. God blessed them and said, be fruitful and increase in number and fill the water in the seas, and let the birds increase on the earth. And there was evening, and there was morning the fifth day. And God said, let the land produce living creatures according to their kind, livestock creatures that move along the ground, and wild animals each according to its kind. And it was so. God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. So God created man in his own image, in the image of God he created him, male and female he created them. God blessed them and said to them, Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air and over every living creature that moves on the ground. Then God said, I'll give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. And to all the beasts of the earth and all the birds of the air and all the creatures that move on the ground, everything that has the breath of life, and God give every green plant for food. And it was so. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning the sixth day.
Ever wish you were a star? Or maybe a boat captain? Now you can be with Anchor.fm. Put your podcast together in bite-sized segments with royalty-free music. And a sound effects catalog that will make you sound like the radiophonic. Workshop. Anchor.fm distributes to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a slew of others. And it's all free, I tell you, it's just free to use and you can earn some quick cash too, if you put one of these silly ads in your podcast. So get Anchor FM and start the new dreamboat rockstar job of yours. And let us know too how you are doing at Aqua Labs.
Duality of a healthcare system, wherein there are no patients, and you're healthy and free to go, as long as you don't eat, drink, or sleep. I submit there is no inherent brain malformity that requires medication, only a displacement in virtual physical space and habit. Where are you? Where will you put yourself or let yourself be put? Are you able to see a light and take help out? Will you ask for the right things until everybody is freed? Who is warden, jailer, prisoner, patient, or staff? What kind of freedoms do they have? What we can do is unravel. The natural tendency is to be free, but does our freedom insulate the freedoms of others? Can the prisoners get out without enslaving each other? Conflict is not always intentional to start, however, it is a non-cooperating group that is first inflicted. Consider two teams. Now I don't know why it isn't one team, but it's two. So they operate together, along the same rules of God, or the universe, but different enough that any crossed paths are visible, from head to toe. For a specific example, look at the essay, who never speaks, and moves in the exact way as the one ahead and behind him. It's in the air, what is observed, and what is not to be observed, for those outside the group. Each group has the discovery playground, an innocuous set of rewards like cash prizes, to encourage success in the group. But back to concentration, and time, memory, reaction, history, and the like in terms of stability and happiness. Everything is real-time and the same thing should only happen in pattern, if it's healthy, because healthy is what needs to happen twice, or corrected on the third, or die in a wasteland of bad choices on four. Truth is also at play, and nobody, including one's own mental suggestions, are immune as far as truth being global and objective. You may not even realize you're telling yourself a lie unless somebody tells you, and they're obligated to infer their own mistruths, if you ask and are paying attention. Truth is what works, and a lie is a cog in a machine that breaks down. A lot can be done with work. In fact, a lot of work goes into punching buttons on this screen, or setting up a path to provide a haven to buffer and coalesce, i.e. gel to the what works, so that it continues to be solid. In the end it comes to mass in body and language. Our senses are omnidirectional and our path is the freedom we earn in helping others to provide time for procreation. Simple. Life. Now which came first? The hen had an idea, but then what was before the egg? Perhaps just a shell of an idea, elemental calcium and no place to go, but up.
A Hot Room 2020. Lorem ipsum dollar sit amet. What follows is an account of how San Francisco mental health works at General. If you can't pair up to exit, you will be paid by clients where secrecy shrouds are impenetrable due to mental health protections, guided by the precept that nobody believes a crazy person. By client, I mean those who live in the system part of full time and orchestrate these pairings from the inside. General has a largish installation of a hallway of people and students that keep newness to the ecosystem, for them and for us, so that if they get stuck, or somebody loses, the losses are minor, and there are always winners by rule. It's all in the water. To navigate the hallway, we talk hot, cold, dry, wet, up, down and done. All means are employed to win and the losses are brutal. If you're close to one party, they may be in trade for your car or laptop for some level of undesired or desired housing. We left in a hurry. Every deal is unique and by design, it's not written down except in their minds and actions in space, as in an SAA. The phones may be live or may be pseudo calls to inform the room. This is where subvocal voicing aka short-range telepathy is at play. Due to the stacked people, movements down to an eyebrow are noticed with inline acknowledgements to the conversations at play, often a mix of English and other languages dialects encoded. So, as fair in love and war Absolutely, but notice people are how they are. Mental health is a plethora of gaming as anything goes and stays in Vegas. Put what you want, is how I've heard paying it forward explained, and since it's a closed system due to the soap bubble form, as described in K-Pax by Spacey's character, it stretches but doesn't pop, and requires lint integration and maintenance towards a means to succeed, knock on wood. So this is why LPS conservatorships are difficult to maintain, with bubbles everywhere. Often people disembark without a trace from the hospital at large and reach a destination or another jumping off point to join a new bubble. It's also why those involved keep themselves in the bubble and will often talk commute times when they've permitted to leave. This matters to me because I am conserved temporarily and have been in these bubbles, only I just noticed these past few years. Another thing to talk about in synchronicity is getting in. That's when your body is living in a dream state of awakened consciousness, and body pairings and more can be seen and heard in motion and speech, which is only used to get people in groups where they want and how, so that they can continue to get in. So my current predicament is how to move from a one-year bubble, aka birthday. The LPS system puts people in, not takes them out, so if you want to be in a bubble, keep your job. Well, always keep your job, and it won't be what got you into your soap. Freedoms of perceived privacy, aka tolerance, are replaced with instant response, and these people are good at it. In fact, their way you win is to train for a holiday or year. Words from the dictionary are used and reused, and everything means something. This means you can't rely on old means to win. To be seen is remembered, first impressions are important, and always, and yelling doesn't mean they're angry at you, and they know it. Getting back to LPS conservatorships, mine is that there is a 30-day grant after other efforts until a hearing for a general grant, and this is where winning is important because what you say is always in spatial record. Journey begins here. This is a hot room I'm not in, and yet my obligation to the bubble is an obligation to my own health, despite the most horrible outcomes I've heard voiced. We're all characters at play, doing karma's will, and even though our hands burn after typing this letter, it's a start towards publishing notes of this content. Aqua Q Glass.
Eyeball minimal. Working sleep. Sleeping hot is sharing your muscles in spatial orientation. Proprioception and equilibrioception are less common known sensors in space and gravity. I stick in place when I am still. Legs float if I change focus or move or twitch. The nearby bodies tap in while we reorient our natures. The idea is to be comfortable. And it's nighttime. So what makes a connection? It's arrows and rings, straight and widening, or rings that wrap or twist, and it's what you see, and what sees you. Tap tap. We've made these agreements. San Francisco is a cosmopolitan center, and so we acknowledge many working systems of signing and moving. By recognizing groups, you can participate or move out of the way, or drag or get dragged up in it. Then there's a door. I move slightly to regain comfort, but instead, only part of my muscle moves, while hands grip my feet. I lean back and my right leg feels cold and as if it's floating in water, with electrical BZZZTS, and if I lean left, other body parts respond in tune. My torso is fixed, with my butt bones anchored on the side of the bed. Twisting up to straighten my back causes my right leg to pull and upper thigh to tighten as if it's been wrapped in spandex or is being held by surrounding rubber. Movement, more internal vibration and feet gripping. A finger brushes under my foot. The continuum of 5 minutes of movement leaves me more uncomfortable and stuck. I dare not move greatly unless I'm willing to empathize, negotiate, and be still until morning. Not yet. Even though I know the consequence, I continue to believe I can make myself comfortable, but what I'm really supposed to do is make other people comfortable. Something grasps my groin. That's synchronicity for you. If I lift my feet, it feels as though I'm on a bus riding forward. I've considered meds for motion sickness, but it's not that. These are other people and should be treated well. So in comes the importance of the ring or arrow. What is seen and heard and empathized will help your fellow put and get wants. And dream woken as we get in and on, up and over. I'm taxed. Surely it's a tax, a debt, in which one pays or provides work. In fact, work is the pay, and wants satisfied is the pay also. Win still, if only it could be like it was cold. If it were for that water, was it a pesticide as I'd heard? Surely something physical happened to me, but also metaphysical, and wrong place, wrong time, wrong escape route. I looked up, got out, got lost, got found, didn't follow, got lost again, and here I am. OS at 438.
Send us a message at Anchor FM/Aqua Labs and tell us what you want to hear. It's April 20th, 2020, and this is Aqua Labs C3W.
Ever wish you were a star? Or maybe a boat captain? Now you can be with Anchor.fm. Put your podcast together in bite-sized segments with royalty-free music. And a sound effects catalog that will make you sound like the radiophonic. Workshop. Anchor.fm distributes to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a slew of others. And it's all free, I tell you, it's just free to use and you can earn some quick cash too, if you put one of these silly ads in your podcast. So get Anchor FM and start the new dreamboat rockstar job of yours. And let us know too how you are doing at Aqua Labs.
And yes, again it is water-free Aqua queued up on Station Z. The news of today's stellar bodies of, well, stellar matter. We begin with Dutch physicist Johannes Diederik van der Waals, and his equation of state, also named simply van der Waals, in which he describes the repulsive or attractive forces of bodies of matter, from water to star material, at very short distances. This allows for things like surface tension, but also shows a much broader indication of the collectiveness of life, as we say water is life, and so, travels together, through space, as a globule. In fact, if the same forces are exhibited in stars, as a basis, perhaps star material is elemental to life itself as well, a fancy notion, they might say in the 1800s, or perhaps it is meant to serve life. Perhaps the two are the same, or perhaps they are not. This is a common juxtaposition mathematicians face, as things are sometimes always, and often, neither either as observed, to any reliable state of being, as in Schrödinger, who I keep mentioning because it fascinates me, and I read it in a very good book, and also because determinism can also be observed in color, say with interstitial dice, but just not perhaps with radioactive materials. So as Paul McCartney might say, na na, na, na 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 na, and etc., we know how the song goes, even though it is very close to hey hey. Goodbye, but not quite. But I digress, as again, maths often support Holly and in part, just a bit more or less. That's just another little math joke. And so it carries the equation. What a life. So anyway, we have this frog, and he's on a lily pad. And he wants to jump, and part of him wants to stick, because that is the nature of his feet. So he takes an option, and one jumps, and resticks himself. And the lily pad is left also sticky and wondering where the frog is, but in that moment, the lily pad knew where the frog was to jump, and perhaps even suggested it. Life in surface tension. It's a macro universe, after all. That should be a song, or a ride at Disneyland. But anyway, now that's a song. Oh. So the frog is in a new place, and the lily pad isn't, but the earth moves, therefore the ground moves, and bodies of water move. And the whole thing is basically talking to each other, as we talk with each other, and we're made of mostly water, so perhaps it is the water that is actually talking. We wouldn't really know it, if it's us, or not, but I'm guessing the water, being mostly chemical at that point, must have an inkling of an idea of what it's doing. Or perhaps we just think it does. So carry on this morning, think of Dutch bread rising with Van der Waal writing on pads of paper in his kitchen. The best part of which is the bread, but the equations were also good. And the paper is gone, but the electrons keep popping up and spinning around. What a planet. I suppose if we had a giant hard drive, it would be the Earth, with a surface tension repulsion waterhead. On a 24 hours clock, and it would warble. And we could just listen to the hard drive and we would know what was going on. So maybe this is how things work anyway, hard drives spinning, alpha particles from space thrown off from distant stars, hacking our internets. And the frog, leaping from lily pad. Which is better than the mess of traffic we put him through in the 80s. Peace and love from San Francisco, this is Aqua Labs, C3W.
If you have any questions about this nonsense, do message us at anchor.fm/AquaQLabs and do leave us a message so that we can bring your voice into the lab and chatter. Until next time. Love from Aqua Q.
Ever wish you were a star? Or maybe a boat captain? Now you can be with Anchor.fm. Put your podcast together in bite-sized segments with royalty-free music. and a sound effects catalog that will make you sound like the radiophonic workshop. Anchor.fm distributes to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a slew of others. And it's all free, I tell you, it's just free to use and you can earn some quick cash too, if you put one of these silly ads in your podcast. So get Anchor FM and start the new dreamboat rockstar job of yours. And let us know too how you are doing at AquaQ Labs.
Taste pause. Relink. Think again. Noise was brain fodder for this stream. The beam. Team right of metal petaled flowers, flowing, just bowing a bit. 2 or 3 zeros and T. Swivel trivial minor notes in a major play with a semitone high ride. Symbol. Crash. When the hello hat clicks, time ticks to the metronome. Underground cities push metal cards of paper people through tunnels of swirly lighted boroughs, and just to get home to pizza. Delivery was the journey of the day, like pain. The French kind. Kisses. Trying to say, according one rule of law, Euclid and his mess of Adam and Evening woes of geometry, the taxation of a triangle into a gram of parallel universes, squish. The fat spider sat down, for where else could it? Oh peep, dirty spider, why out super daddy long-legged furry monster bosher. Oh well, that's how spiders roll. Dicey. And a drawing of clay? Yeah, back to respect, or was that Dylan? No, it was Danger Zone, with a helmet, or baseball. No, it was Joan Jett, or was it the Ark? Never mind that. The planet said pie would be served, at circumference. Like that city, that never sleeps, or sweeps its sidewalks, crust. Edit this. It might turn a page, one day after, and even, oddly enough, is enough, or so the A youngster said in 1980 on the television afternoon after school snacking program. And yay it was so. Ho home, and a glass of milk. Spaced out, as dots on a bot that hasn't been invented. Tomorrow maybe, it dreams under your bed for you to turn out the lights. And then you crawl to plug it in only to change its batteries again and again. OD, see? Lighted Mesmer and his counter at it again. Padding out hours and wanting to tap into Electro Duff's mystical dream juice. The kind that runs socks under wood flooring, at 10 feet cold start, through a concrete jungle with plants, powered footing to climb and map the rain. Soliloquies omissions. Remonetize our collection plate. Pews 1, 2, 3 have yet to pay, though they wished they could, in a basket, case upper to lower, as in a surnamed madam, and even towed twins of each other. Peaked in interest in valleys today. The Southern Airline flies west of the dotted line to sign. Beep. It was a rolled-up trolley from San Francisco, and it turned around on a wheel to see you again. Oh yes, it's on stilts to walk over the muck, as sweepers reap the metal rings from noses of addicted Kleenexes, and the rain that washes them out, the spouting fowls, chick. And that was what Diddle told me today.
If you have any questions about this nonsense, do message us at anchor.fm/AquaQLabs and do leave us a message so that we can bring your voice into the lab and chatter. Until next time, love from AquaQ.
This is your disconnected connected episode of Atmospheric Intelligence by yours truly, AquaQ from the labs. Enjoy.
Highly telepathic environments. Things to consider. Pathways inwards, around, out, and stationary, measured as total movements in space around objects of observability, especially, but not limited to people. Odds are odd. Breath, sub-vocalization, eye movements, hand movements. If you feel it, it feels you. Directional spotting will be your training connectedness of things, meaning everything is related, and so observations of a cursory nature will reveal subtext answers. This means ask the right question, and proceed. Consider cost of motion. Bodily sensations, you may experience eye, back, and hand strain. Phantom blood murmurs. You will need to be lifted by a group, in spatial orientation, according to your numbering, to be determined by the group. Try rolling interstitial colored dice, starting with red, followed by blue and then green. Science indicates red will win when rolled together. Some other topics to consider: doors, obviously. Establishing your head, hand, and heart levels, including chakra 1. Thought and body reactions to stimulus, external and non-auditory, naturally stay within cost and means. Complete everything you start, don't multitask. Use team to divide and operate task directly, don't argue. Create flow, be magical tasks are complete and non-obrux, move on, leaving expected arrangements. Comms open are encouraged. If regular volume permits, speak freely, as in free in the direction you intend, don't try to enunciate, the natural obfuscation will be covered by air.
star, or maybe a boat captain. Now you can be with Anchor.fm. Put your podcast together in bite-sized segments with royalty-free music and a sound effects catalog that will make you sound like the radiophonic. Workshop. Anchor.fm distributes to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a slew of others. And it's all free, I tell you, it's just free to use and you can earn some quick cash too, if you put one of these silly ads in your podcast. So get Anchor FM and start the new dreamboat rockstar job of yours. And let us know too how you are doing at Aqua Labs.
Do check in on the rest of Season 2 and remember you can message us at anchor.fm/AquaQLabs to provide an op-ed or just chatter away if you'd like to join in on the next episode. Peace and love, this is Aqua Q.
Audio Test Radio Lab Aqua Beat Station Z. Audio Test Radio Lab Aqua Beat Station Z.
Audio Test Radio Lab Aqua Beat Station Z.
Audio Test Radio Lab Aqua Beat Station Z.
Audio Test Radio Lab Aqua Beat Station Z. Audio Test Radio Lab Aqua Beat Station Z.
Audio Test Radio Lab Aqua Beat Station Z. Audio Test Radio Lab Aqua Beat Station Z.
Audio Test Radio Lab Aqua Beat Station Z. Audio Test Radio Lab Aqua Beat Station Z.
Audio Test Radio Lab Aqua Beat Station Z.
Ever wish you were a star, or maybe a boat captain? Now you can be with Anchor.fm. Put your podcast together in bite-sized segments with royalty-free music and a sound effects catalog that will make you sound like the radiophonic. Workshop. Anchor.fm distributes to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a slew of others. And it's all free, I tell you, it's just free to use and you can earn some quick cash too, if you put one of these silly ads in your podcast. So get Anchor FM and start the new dreamboat rockstar job of yours. And let us know too how you are doing at Aqua Labs.
On Hold Music is on hold tonight. Enjoy smoky jazz tea in earnest, like the movie character but not as well paid, as in paid late night television with free poltergeists at 2 a.m. Anyway, listen.
Witherspoon dithered in 256 gray shades, that pull down, own depart, meant not tea. OB, that is the question. Thinking is application of listening, outward, sideward, a query of the sequel to a movie that hasn't been written, or spat-on, or patently ridiculed, dictioned and transdeposed, through treble clef, and in dexterity. Langily ported, so to speak, a tree in the middle ground, route access to leave that will, if you leave it behind, signed. Yippee-Ki's Power Tools, Goo. The Photoshop is open, illustrators are artists too, lined, Divine Art. Like Suicide Girls in large format print, out of the closet, where I stashed it. Vinyl proof, for the water, a mirror Oculus, like Dracula, it draws and sucks, amperes of current, as in today, pushed up the square, waved, epsilon, and alpha, in particular, Peculiar's dice, roll dice dotted T-Fords and bugged out sand dunes, let it ride symbol, crash. A zillion ways to Sunday, baller fresh fruit cantaloupe. D-Photo light tabled, and developed nations thrive for its a wonderful world, Armstrong, Lely, take flight but don't crash La Bamba. Poetic justices are frozen cues from the past gas, cube, dry or nitro-powered, whipped and creamy air to the fortunate, it goes, on and on, or off and on, or off and off, XOR and not even odd flip gate, toggle, boggle. The mind, behind sights are from the past, and Piccadilly Circus is a roundabout way of saying it. London fog, in the trenches, wrenches wenches, and women draped over car and truck magazine, gazoo. Condition yourself, lather up, rinse, repeat. The reason is treason, only because it has a rhyme too. Woo.
Love from AquaQ. Do message me at anchor.fm/AquaQLabs/message and we'll put your message out there and respond in kind words. Peace with love, C3W. Ever wish you were a star? Or maybe a boat captain? Now you can be with Anchor.fm. Put your podcast together in bite-sized segments with royalty-free music and a sound effects catalog that will make you sound like the radiophonic. Workshop. Anchor.fm distributes to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a slew of others. And it's all free, I tell you, it's just free to use and you can earn some quick cash too, if you put one of these silly ads in your podcast. So get Anchor FM and start the new dreamboat rockstar job of yours. And let us know too how you are doing at AquaQ Labs. Ever wish you were a star? Or maybe a boat captain? Now you can be with Anchor.fm. Put your podcast together in bite-sized segments with royalty-free music and a sound effects catalog that will make you sound like the radiophonic. Workshop. Anchor.fm distributes to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a slew of others. And it's all free, I tell you, it's just free to use and you can earn some quick cash too, if you put one of these silly ads in your podcast. So get Anchor FM and start the new dreamboat rockstar job of yours. And let us know too how you are doing at AquaQ Labs.
Hello again and welcome to the podcast centrally located in the western lobe of love, henceforth wit-centered and nurtured like a peach. Today will we learn about quite literally nothing. The stuff that makes up stories about it, and why hair always follows green monsters, and why they taste like soda burps. Well, maybe not that. Instead we will cover the broader stroke, canvassed, with wit. And a poem. Slither west and be born free are the troubles here. And when the sun rosy hikes are, of course, the flattest form a lower E, as in a minor play. Or a petri dish of tangerine gumuk. So back to the story, which was gibberish to begin with, ended well, and hasn't actually started yet, at least on paper, as all the trees have run out. They're having a marathon. Bar. chocolate Snickers with bees nuts and waxy lips, Rocky Horror Road style, and Be It's sandwiches. I think there is a fountain Mountain Dew in the back as well with the club sandwiches. And we stop for another poem. Rivers are up and windy. Snowboards catch the glimmer. Something about fish. Even more bizarre is that this is not a haiku, although you may dumbly think it is, and that's because the poem itself is so dumb. It started with salmon, but snowboards start with S, and my discretionary dictionary said it was all right to substitute. So we try again. Rover sat over the pond with all stick to catch a yum. That makes more sense. A dog as his fish. Let's try some dialogue.
Some of us want to change the world. I want to provide an exchange for the world. A place to discover and contribute truths across a broad spectrum of topics, starting with #PolticalTech, powered by the best minds on the planet, who are funded with micropayments and who supports the causes that you love, with full disclosure within the network, which will spawn the first truly global rings of trust to the public, with an enriched dataset providing an indelible record of humankind in discovery for generations to come.
Hello and welcome to Fabrice Leland. We are excited to meet you today, and wanted to share the Netimadis at TH 2020. Well, breakfast one is waffle with real syrup and declus black coffee, juice, and milk. The medicine was delicious well. The neighborhood, like the ski in a morning the way the simal can halfway. You opened the and down and the door clatre and chatre like sandwich, on the face of Pinot waiting for the better part of summer. Then you okay, and we postulate an avel orange in the blessing of Trifron. And here you go, and tu? Fruit of fruition were chatre and smacre, a in jelly bond in al 40 flavor. Only just, cherry pea and dragon favorite, to wait and see. And up next.
Hello there and welcome to Fabrice Land. We are excited to meet you today, and wanted to share the news this May the 17th, 2020. Well, breakfast was nice. Waffles with real syrup and eggs plus black coffee, juice, and milk. The medicine was delicious as well. The news was light, like the sky in a mid-morning duodecimal kind of way. It was up and down and around, and the doors clattered and chattered like sun wishes on the faces of pies not eaten for the better part of summer. Then it was quiet, and we postulated navel oranges in the blessings of tree fronds. And yeah, it was good. And thus, fruits of fruition were chattered and smacked us in jelly beans in all 40 flavors. Only just cherry pie and Reagan's favorite, to wait and see. And this up next.
If you have any questions about this nonsense, do message us at anchor.fm/AquaQLabs and do leave us a message so that we can bring your voice into the lab and chatter. Until next time, love from AquaQ.
Ever wish you were a star? Or maybe a boat captain? Now you can be with Anchor.fm. Put your podcast together in bite-sized segments with royalty-free music and a sound effects catalog that will make you sound like the radiophonic workshop. Anchor.fm distributes to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a slew of others. And it's all free, I tell you, it's just free to use and you can earn some quick cash too, if you put one of these silly ads in your podcast. So get Anchor FM and start the new dreamboat rockstar job of yours. And let us know too how you are doing at AquaQ Labs.
You matter. Well, you're made of matter, so make it count. Matter of fact. Message us at anchor.fm/AquaQLabs and hear your comment in the next episode. Stay tuned and remember, don't eat red meat. Smoke it.
The time is night, I'm in this place. People sit beside me, though random they set my pace. Were I to be myself, I'd simply run and hide amongst the chatter nodding wild. But something in me not so quiet brings joy to show the gift of light, not from me or you or even the embers piped and tockered might. It's the fire that makes the mind run wild. Desire to show our world's not mild, stoking madly lest we all expire. Within ourselves without desire, cold, without true friend nor glass to see the bending light. A hall of mirrors to which we see all angles of ourselves, and not one single angel.
Question is the most helpful symbol, add a debit to what you give, or a credit to the potential of who is answering. To have peace is to have that special remainder, and achieving that is creating space for others to leave or fill and live through. There are no voids to fill, like a cavity that's rotted from. So space, in the vastest sense, is not for us but to buffer us. And Earth is, always, will be, either what archetypal life is, or the construction of patches as parasitical morphisms, that appear to be the same, but connected perversely, filling in freedom with obligation. Hands of feet and function is dynamic, learned, held and propagated as teleperception. Comfort comes in groups, where perceptions are empathized and mappings benefit themselves in the group, with an important non-observation. The dictionary is finite, expansion, creative and communication instant and in motion. Omnidirectional is subjective, if you are subject, or are subjected to, observance of this is deafening and debilitating, unless healing takes place. And that is hashtag your morning Joe.
A full range of emotions and predicted behaviors are physical, in space, and as per focus and observability. To be observed in empathy is to be healed, as health is a common form of flight we use to travel as communities. Autonomous flight is winged will. However, there is still attitude and altitude. There is also the flock. Mockingbirds are sincere in their flattery. What you want to do should be with haste. Haste at the abilities to accomplish in the short orders your team numbering allows. But the idea should not be lost, as willed it might be thwarted. Shall it be known and incongruent like a parallelogram in a hot tub time machine? Then it's 1980 and we're stocked on bonds and adult coke, and a president who can inhale. Maybe he needs a ventilator, or a fancy gadget for unstuffing the drool from his ear. For now, it's been breakfast time, a time where rules are a double play between what can be prepared and what can be observed to be eaten, and drunk like a garden gnome. Lunch is the same, only much worse on food choices. Dinner is always meat, and I was never even properly introduced to the lattice. Chopping the time it took to write this. Droves of numbers walked and stamped the walls and floor. There was a sheep in wolves clothing, which is expensive to get in a shop. Forever Fank is what they call it, or Hull in North Beach to the beat poet. In any regard, Gerard was the cop for the one-armed man. I think there was a hen house and an outhouse, or perhaps they were one in the same.
Ardent like argon, noble and gaseous wit, a game of light bright, scraped skies radio, some on paper some on land, who wants the outside, electrons spin all, to protect and find a way, alive and at rest, still through stiff glass, weather by the sun beat, among the poets, wish it was summer, stanza Greek letters, binomial, be ceased thrice, circles drag times 10, the type times person, reacts to low glee, equals the self-loathed math in the eyes of, wrote those, with naught a second, singular proof Lee, bread loaves loaves, the radio is speaking, the bold underlines.
Ever wish you were a star? Or maybe a boat captain? Now you can be, with Anchor.fm. Put your podcast together in bite-sized segments with royalty-free music. And a sound effects catalog that will make you sound like the radiophonic. Workshop. Anchor.fm distributes to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a slew of others. And it's all free, I tell you, it's just free to use and you can earn some quick cash too, if you put one of these silly ads in your podcast. So get Anchor FM and start the new dreamboat rockstar job of yours. And let us know too how you are doing at Aqua Labs.
In this episode 5 we reveal some truths about San Francisco's mental health care system, or perhaps more dramatically, how one got involved. Please message Anchor FM/Aqua Labs to comment on tonight's episode, and in the meantime, try not to watch the black cats you may be crossing. This is Radio Aqua Labs C3W.
So there are some intake rooms, not to drink the water. San Francisco has many unmarked rooms, some with garages that mimic a hospital setting, and the county knows they're there. This specific one is a double Walgreens up from St. Francis, and there is at least one more on the same long stretch. Ambulances pull up and there are a couple of people detained. I was one of them. They demanded my name and address and then pushed me down to a table by the chest, hard. They had my medical records and gave me a Zyprexa and a glass of water. They were very keen on me drinking the water, and I did. 2 sips. I was thirsty from being out all night. Immediately I could feel a gooey sense. The water was permeating and later proved to be an anti-organic. I did not eat or drink for 5 days, or more. As I was on the street, a fast car pulled up to the light and blew something at me. It was a daze of lights, and if I turned it became worse. These were the beginning poisons that made food intake have the opposite result. Grease and electricity is how I operate, and food burns away fat while irreplaceable cartilage is damaged. Thing is, hospitals know this, yet because of appearances continue to entice with food and snacks. It's a addict's dream and nightmare. Only a small amount of this pesticide, as I've heard it called, is needed, and I've been dosed at least twice. After 30 days of no food or water, you can maintain cold dry. I think bowels turn inactive, and human energies are what we have left. Paths crossed, doors open or shut, and various human energies per group and practice provide a means of healing or detriment. It's all in the agreements. So it's Cinco de Mayo, and I stumble twisted back to my apartment. A man from the county is occupying the lower apartment and seems keen on getting into the back of my apartment. He offers me some water, with a dry grin, which I refuse. The apartment was not his, and the belongings were tarped over, as I made my way back through it to my back deck. I wouldn't have rung the bell, but my key was failing, the lock had been modified so that couldn't get in. And I was delirious. I spent the night outside, and in the morning there was suspiciously coffee and meat from my downstairs neighbor, ground floor. I had the coffee, which may have been my third dosing, and my landlord sped up and confronted me. He said, "I'll let you in the apartment, but then I'll own all your stuff." I thought he was joking, so I went inside. Police were there too, and done strange-looking officers. Same ones who had pushed me out of St. Francis. They pricked my finger and were gone. Jeff, my landlord, showed me my mouthwash and said I could use it but don't swallow. And no alcohol. He knew I was hot. 2 weeks, I finished all the food in the apartment. It was dumb, but I was half crazed and hungry. I ate all the sweets, every a ton of Torani ice cubes. My cash was nil, and my landlord was on site the whole time. I felt fear, and all of a sudden, with seemingly nothing left except continued fear and still technically locked out of my apartment, I walked that night in just a t-shirt. Later in days I was picked up and covered and brought to another hospital-like building where I was told, "We kill people." I was given a shot and driven to an unmarked facility, lower level, later known to me as Pays, and yes, there were snacks.
The asylum has no doors or walls, it's just standing is eluded by feet. Cool weather is the illusion of blood. Bones are the map to where and why, and teeth are radio. Chatter wild as we might. Deplore or delight the ink from a squid. Despair is a video game, not zero to ponder, as it means nothing. But its means are averaged and made angry with measure, and thus is the stock market. A pile of Van Housen shoes like a do-rag top buggy, smiling and winking with a custom horn, and 32 straight cash dollars for the pleasure. Wish you were here.
Send us a message at Anchor FM/AquaQ Labs and tell us what you want to hear. It's April 20th, 2020, and this is Aqua Q Labs C3W.
Today we listen to the Aqua Q recite some facts and treasure, for your fats and measure. The voices in your head are probably not being heard, because everybody is already too loud around you. The empty mind drives the non-observance of self, and thus by others provides a free path to help yourself, and by side effects, others. Listen.
So, food has eaten most of my protective fats and cartilage mid-region, with foods like semolina continuing to bake and drop with gravity. Here are some of the fat-burning foods which are killing me, besides sugar. Corn, number 1, cinnamon, blueberries, avocado, hot sauce, citrus, salmon, green tea, well I don't drink green tea, peppers, as well as meats, lobster, butter, cheese, eggs, dairy, plus anything excessively long for the body to digest like oatmeal and bananas, which I love. Each time I consume food, some of unreplaceable me is burned away, and what's left is blood. Pores excrete a thicker deadness which works its way past skin, with hair loss and soap that doesn't quite do it. Blood has a spin on it, think atomics, electrons. They need a pathway outward to create a path for life to follow, and reciprocate unto others. //// Solution. This is terribly complicated, and is a social experiment, with protagonists and antagonists, but always based on rule of physical laws, for an objective of physical freedoms, and one would hope harmony. However, absent-mindedness and selfishness leads to pain on all sides. Consider the pains you usually feel, ones you even get used to, take medication for, and try to avoid. Now consider the mind and body as reciprocal blood, where a simple thought or motion with the hands, such as typing on this keypad, causes each type of nearby person to react, say within 40 feet or more, depending on the ring, arc, arrow, cuts, and crochet that are these energies. Then look at phalanges and think digits. The finger bone is connected to the, and so forth. Prep your hand to noticement gestures. So anyway, people who act retarded probably are not, or are being so with a frustration of your misunderstanding. If you feel pain, you're doing it wrong, and if you see suffering, doubly so. And such is our world, filled with these pains, and people inflicting those pains in natural ways they may not even realize. The pharmacy is an extension of the house call doctor, without the personal touch which make MDs successful. So medicine for touch, and more of it. So with human healing comes another toxin, which is speech, which among other things, just as anything can inflict conflict, confuse, dissuade, and mask misconduct with outright lies, or obfuscation. Everybody has their own code talking, even if I sounds perfectly natural, and language is made for this. The big secret, well, one of the many secrets, are just that, secrets known to everybody, though not disclosed, as openness of secrets obliterates the channels they function in. It would be like talking about how your tongue is moving, while you are simultaneously speaking a verse of poetry. So, the point is not the point. There are many things to do, which are actually the same. And behaviors carry each other around you, away, towards, back to, and rest. At rest, in a rest home, where home is where your hat is, at rest, within a bar measure of treble and bass clef. And if you want me to prove it, stick to maths. Peace and love. 3 from San Francisco. Aqua Q.
This podcast is made with Anchor FM. It's free, it's fun to use, and a delight to get professional results with minimal effort. Join me and download Anchor FM today. Aqua Q Labs C3W.
Anchor FM stores all your work in the cloud and multitasks importing while you edit multiple podcasts at once. Its intuitive interface will have you online in under 15 minutes and publishing seconds later.
Download Anchor FM for iPhone or Android and start saying what you mean.
Send us a message at anchor.fm/AquaQLabs and do leave a message so we can address and stamp you out in our next rivet of an episode. Right.
Ever wish you were a star? Or maybe a boat captain? Now you can be, with Anchor.fm. Put your podcast together in bite-sized segments with royalty-free music. And a sound effects catalog that will make you sound like the radiophonic. Workshop. Anchor.fm distributes to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a slew of others. And it's all free, I tell you, it's just free to use and you can earn some quick cash too, if you put one of these silly ads in your podcast. So get Anchor FM and start the new dreamboat rockstar job of yours. And let us know too how you are doing at Aqua Q Labs.
When you're done being angry, but nobody is left to love or hold. That is the end, in this place, a place placed. When captured, as you are, you're right to resent, and toil for escape. But mind the sticky buns. The prison is made up of prisoners, and the guards are not at all happy. They will be quick to thwart you, given their own angst for perfection, which they cannot achieve from the station. Or perhaps they are happy, or maybe happiness doesn't appeal to them. / When the mind is shared, it is done by locale, time, and these thoughts define yourself and your peers. Make it right from the start. I find myself busy asking internal questions which are fought against, for internals have no time to answer or ponder or wish for a solution to this problem which is not theirs. So I fumble, move on, throw away, or even re-edit the work. Points to make. That is a point. Circles are nice. Lines mean death, if you stand and follow one long enough. My butt burns while others laugh, and what else do they do besides laugh? They offer a bad deal that turns on a bad dime. The kind of dime they either dropped or stole to get here. Perhaps they gave it away, like I did, convinced the end was today. Just like it maybe still is, the continuation of a problem not solved, with solutions that neither fit a situation, nor provide an adequate future, and there is something else. No time to decide, and all the time to act. It's a funny world, funny like the what? Kind of funny. So fingers move and all of this means nothing, oh does it? Well never mind then.
The proceeding was written by Aqua Q Labs plus honey sweetened milk thistle with pomegranate and performed by the Singing Trees of Garanatang Mystical Misfits in the 7th octave. Join us next week with user queries to the invited question, what color is your navel, and can you place an orange? Well, if you have something better, you can message us at anchor.fm/AquaQLabs and we will put you into the virtual air, as they say, as we say, when we're together. That's all for now. C3W San Francisco.
Ever wish you were a star? Or maybe a boat captain? Now you can be, with Anchor.fm. Put your podcast together in bite-sized segments with royalty-free music. And a sound effects catalog that will make you sound like the radiophonic. Workshop. Anchor.fm distributes to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a slew of others. And it's all free, I tell you, it's just free to use and you can earn some quick cash too, if you put one of these silly ads in your podcast. So get Anchor FM and start the new dreamboat rockstar job of yours. And let us know too how you are doing at AquaQ Labs.
Miranda was in her lawful office, the kind that's just right, or right justified. She was an author, as well as reviewing other people's works for publishing. Today was Thursday, and her stack included literature on extraterrestrials, a novel, and a pocketbook about knitting hooks. She took the novel to her study, which was more like, well, it was more like the kitchen counter in her brightly lit apartment, with a cutting board, where she had an avocado and turned some pages. Intrigue and pocket watches. Time and materials on this one. Maybe out for a coffee. She stashed the book into her baffled bag of trick-or-treats and scuffled out the door in a slightly woolly blue dress. She passed Jelly in the street on the way to the shop. He tipped his hat and said the boss would love to buy her a cup, and to dig into the tips jar on his behalf if he'd already left. She was used to that. She used to work for him too, in this very coffee shop, as she rounded the corner and walked inside. His hat was on. Pleased you made the mark. What is the news in publishing today? A wistful and couch fodder for later, and a bit of telephone booth changing for this one. Her paperback flapped from her oversized bag. Oh good, the store needs a bestseller this year. They get one every year, she said. Oh yes. You do. They both smiled. She cheersed him with her cup, and slammed back the hot mess, and as her head tipped, so did her chair, and off. And backwards she fell, banging her head on the side of the fireplace on her way down to the furry bear carpet rug on the floor. Oops. Passed out was she. But conscious too. She was standing over there, looking down. Oh my. Not again. She grabbed her bag and ran out, leaving her body behind. There were ambulances coming. They'd sort her out. She had to get to the shop up the hill and tell Mac about it. Or was it a dream? She looked back.
If you have any questions about this nonsense, do message us at anchor.fm/AquaQLabs and you'll leave us a message so that we can bring your voice into the lab and chatter. Until next time. Love from AquaQ.
It's episode 4 of AquaQ Labs and we bring you strawberry programs. Enjoy it and never invest in a 3-ring binder unless you have something to write upside down and scribble on backward and forwards until cereal comes out of your nose, alphabet style. Now this.
Gazzing to your agent is loaded. It's especially fair and damp today. Just slide it on for a trial. We'll ultra shock it off later. Well, we'll try. The last time they side-loaded an agent on me was 2 weeks ago, and it's still sticky around the ankles. Toes are a bit doughy too. It was also well known that the staff had been messing with the programs. Hot was cold, up was sideways. It was a right bollocks. The intention was unclear, but the effect was Lord of the Rings meets Pee Wee Herman in a nightclub discotheque, with boots, a dinner dress, and a quart of petrol to last the night. You had to stay busy or the body program kicked in and started rewriting everything. It was 5 a.m. and Peru was rising. A tone chimed. It was Tuesday morning in the West Bank, and the street merchants were setting up for the bazaar. Hackmet put up his wares and wandered across the street to the newsstand. Not gonna buy today's paper. Jellish, it's filled with lies and the ads are too expensive. Jason blinked. That was his name. Mr. H had begun calling him Jellish after a peanut butter mishap. 3 years ago, everybody knew Creamy was bullshit. The paper was expensive to run since the owner lived well in his accounts. Securities, I think he called it. The editor too lived strong with a mind to argue the cost of freedom. I guess it was 35 cents, and a hot chocolate at the corner cafe where they cased the town for stories. Hackmate wandered over for a cup. The sign tilted just a bit as he walked into the sunny dungeon pies and other morsely treatable ales and amenables. He had 35 cents.
He walked in, stippled lip from a slight shaving accident, and tossed his 35 cents into the tip jar. Careful with that, fella, he said. You could buy a paper with that. Frog the editor just smiled as he usually does when he's being bullied or getting ready to trim his toenails. This time was both. Not in the coffee shop, man, don't forget what happens to dead cellular phones. They get recycled as little girls' tricycles. Well, that's all right, hackmech, I'll buy one for your family next time you've got a date with Lillery. She wrote me the other day. Dear editor, she's always so formal. Yes, Lillery was a peach and liked getting into the vertical columns on the paper, sideways. Extra extra. So the coffee tariffs are up again, eh, old man? Surprised to see you so spendthrift at the till. Oh, that's for the tables. It's a bizarre banquet from the street festival tonight. Lights, action, superstars. Indeed, the narrative had been left justified for 75p in last week's paper by another secret admirer of the bazaar. They sent a basket of baskets filled with gaskets. That's got to be something clever. What's clever? Frog asked. Weird, I was just thinking to myself, it must be the coffee. You didn't have any. Oh, that must be why then too, much of a non-creamed thing. It's time to get over to Peru. Get me the phone.
Send us a message at Anchor FM/AquaQ Labs and tell us what you want to hear. It's April 20th, 2020 and this is Aqua Q Labs C3W.
Ever wish you were a star? Or maybe a boat captain? Now you can be, with Anchor.fm. Put your podcast together in bite-sized segments with royalty-free music. And a sound effects catalog that will make you sound like the radiophonic. Workshop. Anchor.fm distributes to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a slew of others. And it's all free, I tell you, it's just free to use and you can earn some quick cash too, if you put one of these silly ads in your podcast. So get Anchor FM and start the new dreamboat rockstar job of yours. And let us know too how you are doing at Aqua Q Labs.
This podcast is made with Anchor FM. It's free, it's fun to use and a delight to get professional results with minimal effort. Join me and download Anchor FM today. Aqua Q Labs C3W.
Anchor FM stores all your work in the cloud and multitasks importing while you edit multiple podcasts at once. Its intuitive interface will have you online in under 15 minutes and publishing seconds later.
Download Anchor FM for iPhone or Android and start saying what you mean.
35, it's code 4 at Dublin. Looks like Santa Rita released passenger is made, so they're waiting for the next train. 35, 2075.
Send us a message at Anchor FM/AquaQ Labs and tell us what you want to hear. It's April 20th, 2020 and this is Aqua Q Labs C3W.
And now this from AquaQ himself. Blood Talk.